Good evening, everybody. This is Phelan again here with the Taylorsville Road Church of Christ, here to give you a daily dose of encouragement on the night. Tonight, we're going to be coming from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 10. So let's go ahead and turn to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, and we'll read verse 10 only. It says, "Whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. For there is no activity or planning or knowledge or wisdom in Sheol where you are going." This book, of course, is written by Solomon. Solomon, one of the wisest or the wisest man in his day to have lived. And he gives us a great piece of wisdom here. He tells us to find something to do, and when we do it, to do it with all of our might. And so the first aspect of this verse we want to look at is finding something to do. Now, a lot of us, we are always doing something. Whether that is taking care of kids, family, working on a job, going to school, or working on some project at home or at work, whatever that may be. And we all find something to do each and every day. Almost every second of the day, we're doing something. And the first thing we must do, practically speaking, especially in spiritual terms, and we're going to try to focus on that, is finding something to do. Now, as Christians, when we assemble, or when we let me put it this way: as Christians, we're always supposed to be having something to do. We're always supposed to be doing something for the sake of the gospel and for God's sake, for the ministry of Christ. So we must be aware of that. We must remember that, because if we're idle, if we're not busy doing something for the Lord in the present sense, that means we need to be finding something to do. It doesn't matter if you are new to the faith or a new convert, you're a babe in Christ, or you're an elder in the Lord. You should be doing something. You should have your hands in the gospel, in the ministry of Christ, at some point, and for a good reason. And so, the reason why I say that is because oftentimes when you're a babe in Christ, you kind of wait to find something to do. You kind of wait till you feel like, it's the right time to do something for the Lord's sake, for the ministry. And you kind of wait too long because you want to wait on the right time. You want to wait till things are ripened. But even as a babe in Christ, you have to have your hands in something. You need to be busy doing something, because idleness can cause temptation to sin. It can be a distraction. You can lose sight of God when you're idle. So it's always good to do something like, maybe starting out small and working to big things, small things like maybe cleaning up the church, or maybe even commenting in a classroom setting, in a class setting. You're just raising your hand and making a comment sometimes. You can go from there to, maybe fixing the communion for the assembly, or maybe teaching a class eventually, and then maybe preaching occasionally, or something of those natures. And eventually, those things will grow into bigger things. But you have to find something to do. Being idle is not beneficial in the kingdom. Oftentimes, members don't do anything at all. They wait around, even if they're not babes in Christ. They wait around until they're almost forced to do something, which as we don't want to force anybody to do anything. We don't want to have to make you want to do something. It should be voluntarily for the kingdom's sake. But not only do we have to find something to do, but when we find something to do, we must do it with all of our might. So it's not something that we should do haphazardly, something that we just, you know, we don't take our time with, we're not diligent with. And sometimes I'm like that. I'm not gonna act like, I'm perfect in that area. Sometimes I'm in a rush to do things. Sometimes I'm cluttered and I don't take my time. But my intent and goal is to get it done at the end of the day, and try to do my best. But sometimes I don't always give my best. But I do try. I do. So we must do our best. And one point that I want to really make in regards to finding something to do is that we shouldn't wait till tomorrow to do something. The past is gone. The future, it hasn't come yet. Today is the day that we should do something. We shouldn't wait until tomorrow to do something. We can't say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And you feel like, well, maybe today is not the best day to do it. I should do it tomorrow. Today is the only day that we have. And so whatever we find our hands to do today, that we will do with all of our might. And so that's pretty much my lesson for tonight. But we have to remember at the end of it all that the strength to do those things that we do, it doesn't lie in ourselves, it lies in Christ. Christ gives us the strength to do those things because, one, they're a privilege, and they're a privilege to do those things. So when we do find something to do because of what Christ has given us, the strength that He's given us, we must do it with all our might because of what He's given us, and realize and remember at the end of the day that even when we do our best, the strength does not come from ourselves. It comes from Christ. It comes from God. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that this blesses you, that it made sense. If not, leave a comment or message us at the Taylorsville Road Church of Christ. Thank you guys. God bless.